We're back at Lambeau Field here in Green Bay. The Packers out in front by 21 as we get ready for the second half. Our first half highlights brought to you by MCI Proof Positive.
Well, we said defense is the theme and defensive aggressiveness. You take a look there at Steve Walsh getting introduced, or actually the Packers defensive line introducing themselves to Steve Walsh, keeping the heat on him, forcing him to throw this interception, which sets up the gift touchdown for the Packers offense. A big play for the Packers defense. Past games, those big plays have gone against the Packers defense. And then even Don Davey, the butcher, he gets into the play here, ripping up through the middle, and then he introduces himself to Steve Walsh. So Steve Walsh getting to know this Packers defensive line.
Yeah, he really is. And a problem for the Packers has been on defense. The last 3 weeks, they have been hit hard by Buffalo, Dallas, and Detroit took them. In fact, this defense, which has been a problem the last 2 weeks, Tim Green, has been a problem with keeping leads. And they've been blowing leads. They blew 3 leads in the Detroit game, and they blew a big lead, a 14-point lead in the Dallas game. So that's something to keep in mind as we go into the second half.
Well, they're keeping the lead in this game, and they're helping to create the lead with the big play and the big turnover. Hey, these guys were challenged, Joe. These guys were insulted. People, again, there was talk about this line, defensive line, being old, being overpaid. They rose to the challenge, and most importantly, Reggie White, the heart and soul, the center of that defense, he's playing inspired, fired-up football.
You get a look at Steve Walsh, and you have to wonder, if the Chicago offense doesn't start out hot, might we see Eric Kramer before the end of the day?
Yes, again, Dave Wannstedt said it has to be a gut feeling. But when you're a superstitious guy, when you go on gut feelings, as everybody does, every coach does, you go hot, you go hot. Walsh won 4. He dropped 1 last week. Not him personally, but he had 2 turnovers. And now another turnover this week, a costly one. And things are starting to slide for the Chicago Bears.
Starting out the second half, the Green Bay offense will have the ball as they get ready to receive the second half kickoff. The Green Bay return team is out on the field. As you get a look at some of the numbers, rushing yards, that's big, and you touched on it during the first half.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what the Packers wanted to do. They wanted to beat the Bears at their own game, and when you rush the ball, you see down here, they've had the ball more than the Bears. That has not happened to the Chicago Bears recently in any game. They've been the ones to hold the ball, run the ball, control the clock.
Kevin Butler kicks it away for Chicago. This is Brooks on the return from inside his 15. Outside the 30, he took a hit, and we throw it down to our other partner. Here's Dan Jiggets.
All right, guys, don't be surprised if the Bears in the second half go to their other quarterback, Eric Kramer. Dave Wannstedt said during the week that he might try to get him a run at some point or another. And remember, the last time he played was against these very same Packers, those many weeks ago on Halloween night. It was not a good night for Eric Kramer. Also, look for the Packers offensively. They keep trying to take advantage of that Bears defensive front's aggressiveness. They open up the hole, delay the back a little bit, shoot through it, and it's wide open. Guys?
All right, Dan, thank you very much. Yeah, that's the irony, is that this all started the Packer decline, the ascension by the Chicago Bears on that Monday night game where these two teams meeting on a rain-soaked night in Chicago.
Yeah, and there's exactly what Dan talked about. The fast-filling linebacker, Kane, fills up in the hole. Cobb sidesteps him. Watch it here. He gets the block. He doesn't sidestep him. He oversteps him and then goes for 8 yards.
Second down and 2. Green Bay with the ball, leading by 21. Bennett lowers his head, and he's brought down right at the first down yardage. And it's going to depend on the spot as to whether this is a first down or not. It looked like he had it. And it is indeed a first down for Green Bay.
Now, one thing we have to keep in mind as we go through the second half, Joe, is that, and we talked about it earlier, this is a must-win for the Packers. These guys are as inspired, they're as heated up, as stoked up as a team could be. The Bears, on the other hand, are in a much more comfortable, a much better position going into the playoffs, getting a playoff spot.
On first down, Sterling Sharp gets it out to midfield. Joe Kane, one of the outside linebackers there to bring him down. Eric Kramer, we may see him in the second half.
Well, the other thing about Eric Kramer is the Bears have got a lot of money invested in Eric Kramer. And Dave Wannstedt, don't forget, he believes in this guy. He believes that Kramer is a legitimate big-time, not just legitimate, but a legitimate big-time NFL quarterback.
On second down, Favre play action. Plenty of time, and he finds Brooks. First down at the Chicago 35, a pickup of 15. Boy, Favre had forever back there.
Yeah, that offensive line has given him time all day. And again, not only given him time, but opened up passing lanes. It's not like he's scrambling around back there. It's not like he's got anybody in his face. They're opening up these nice lanes, and he's just gunning that ball downfield to his receivers.
Another 1st and 10 for the Packers. Bennett. Vincent Smith there for the tackle, a pickup of only a couple.
Well, when you talk about the Bears linebackers and how they fill that backside, you'll see the linebackers like Vincent Smith, they'll make those tackles if the Packers just run straight at them. And you see here, it's just a straight run play, and that allows Smith to just come straight in and make that tackle. So if you want to take advantage of an over-pursuing, a fast linebacker core, you've got to cut it back.
Second down and 8. Delayed handoff. First down carry for Cobb. Cobb today, 7 carries, 65 yards.
Well, you said it, Joe. I mean, Cobb is a guy who wants to reestablish himself. And there's McIntyre again working on Zorich. There's Winters working on Minter, the middle linebacker, 92. So the front guys not only giving Favre protection, opening up the holes for the running backs.
Cobb doesn't get that success again as he's brought down by Zorich. A pickup of just 2. Reggie Cobb rushed for over 1,000 yards in 92 with Tampa Bay, and the Packers picked him up. They haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher in 15 years. They hoped that would come from Cobb, but as you said, they've split the time between Cobb and Bennett in their backfield.
You know, it's important. This is important for Reggie Cobb to run well in these last 3 Green Bay games to make sure that they keep him around and keep him as part of this offense.
Over the middle, wide open was Sharp, but the throw was behind him.
Well, the sights on the weapon were a little off. Sterling Sharp's the guy. He makes the cut across the middle. And again, it's a safe throw in there because Mark Carrier, 20, is the deep guy. He can't catch that. You see it? Heck, he almost doesn't even bother going for it. He knows he can't bring it down. He's got the big cast on his hand.
That'll bring up a 3rd down and 8. The Packers today, 5 out of 8 on 3rd down. Sharp, first down, Sharp, touchdown. And the Packers trying to blow out the Bears. They lead 30-3 with the extra point coming. One of the offensive linemen, the right tackle, Joe Sims, is down back near the 40. And while they tend to him, we'll have a break in the action. That's big Joe Sims, the right tackle from Nebraska.
Let's take a look at the touchdown again. It's Sharp. He's in the slot. He makes the break. Douglas is on him. And then the pursuit slips. Sharp goes in. Touchdown. Simple. I mean, you know, that's all it is. That's what Brett Favre and Sterling Sharp bring to the Green Bay Packers. They make it look simple. Catch, run, touchdown.
Sharp will give you that, though. After the catch, he is one of the most dangerous receivers in open field.
And, you know, Favre will give you the touchdown pass, too. I mean, he is right up there. People around the league don't think of him in the company of Steve Young and Dan Marino and Troy Aikman, but he's up there. I mean, he's in the top three.
Jackie puts the extra point through the upright, and it is 31-3 Green Bay. So the Packers take the opening kick of the second half, march it down the field, and a 13-yard touchdown pass from Favre to Sharp.
Bell Sunday is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, where safety, reliability, performance, and value are never optional. By Taco Bell, tacos, burritos, and nachos cross the border. By Coors Light, naturally brewed, reach for the silver bullet, the pure taste of the Rockies. And by 1-800-COLLECT, the way to save on collect calls.
Brett Favre has thrown 3 touchdown passes today, 2 to Sharp, 1 to Brooks, and that gives him 28 for the season.
Well, I said Brett Favre, the kind of company he's in, and a lot of people wouldn't think it, but when you look at touchdown passes, there he is. He tied with Marino. He's only 1 behind Steve Young.
Nate Lewis back deep for Chicago. He'll take it in from his 15. That sounded a little nasty down there. Steve Walsh getting ready to head back out to the field. The Bears take over on offense. There's the score. Green Bay out in front 31-3, and the Bears offense has it, and they have got to get to work. Steve Walsh still in the lineup, trying to hang on, and they have it 1st and 10 at their own 30.
If I'm the Bears and I want the deep ball and the long ball, you see Jeff Graham out there lined up on Terrell Buckley. That's where you throw the ball. That's where you go to.
The backfield, it's Tillman. Whoa, big hit. He keeps on going. A pickup of 9. Now time for a McDonald's game break. Let's send you back to JB in Hollywood.
All right, Joe, and the number 9 applies here as you take a look at number 12. Jim Kelly looking, finds Don Beebe, 9-yard strike, and Buffalo on top 17-9. Minnesota driving. We'll keep you updated. Back to Joe and Tim.
So Minnesota on the drive. That might take a little bit of the sting out of this for Bears fans. Trailing at Buffalo are the Vikings. Walsh overshoots his tight end Cook.
You know, Jeff Graham at the bottom of the field here was running down the field absolutely wide open. And I know the pattern was going the other way, but the Bears have got to go to the well. That's how other teams have attacked the Packers defense, especially in the air. They've put the tall guy on Buckley, and they've gone for it. They've got to do it now.
There's the day for Graham, 72 yards. Again, Buckley lines up across from him at the bottom of your screen. 3rd down and a long one. Play action pass. Raymond Harris out of the backfield, a 1st down catch. Leroy Butler wrapped him up and took him out of bounds, but a 1st down pickup on 3rd and a long one. They still put the ball in the air.
One thing that is an advantage to the Bears, and we said they don't like to play catch up. That's not their game. The long ball's not their game, but they have a simplified offense. And Steve Walsh told us yesterday, hey, the plays we run tomorrow, we've been running since training camp. So that gives an offense confidence.
Tillman can't hang on. Boy, Leroy Butler's been everywhere. He had the interception, brought back down to the 5. He's been in on quite a few tackles. And Leroy Butler, a fifth-year player out of Florida State, he's been hopping all over this field.
And he's happy today. We talked to him, and he said, hey, I want our defense to throw everything at the Bears. I want to throw the kitchen sink at them. I want to be up involved in the run. I want us to be aggressive, to blitz, to stunt. Let's do it all.
2nd down and 10. Green dancing around, and he is wrapped up by Kuntz. Pop hit him first. And there's Butler again, getting off the pile.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. He said, I want to be involved in the run game. That's what got me to the Pro Bowl. Not hanging back into deep coverage, but playing aggressive. You see, as soon as the ball's snapped, he starts to move forward, and that's how he gets in on this tackle.
Green still in the backfield on 3rd down and 10. That pass was tipped, it looked like. It drops incomplete. McMurtry, the intended receiver, and time again for the Bears to punt. Corey Harris there defensively for Green Bay.
I am still mystified why the Bears are not working at Terrell Buckley.
Gardocki ready to punt it away for Chicago. Robert Brooks back deep for the Packers. Poor punt. And a poor Chicago bounce. It stops at the 25, a 32-yard punt, no return, and the Packers have it again. They lead the Bears 31-3. At the AFC East and what's going on today. Miami on top. They take on Kansas City on Monday night. Buffalo now leading Minnesota 17-12. Minnesota came away with a field goal. New England leading Indianapolis, and the Jets, of course, were defeated by Detroit yesterday at the Meadowlands. Bad exchange between Favre and Bennett, but it looked like Bennett fell back on top of the football. He did.
What a nice, comfortable feeling for the Green Bay Packers on this cold, muddy day to be able to afford a mix-up in the exchange. I mean, normally the past 3 weeks, this kind of thing would kill the Packers. They'd start grinding their teeth. But this one, they just, heck, you drop on it, you recover the fumble, and you go on. You're not worried. You got the big, big cushion in the score, that is.
2nd down and 12 after a loss of 2. Wide open in the flats is Bennett. Forced out of bounds by Maurice Douglas, and a pickup of 5.
Well, this is what the Packers are going to do, of course, now more than ever, because now all they want to do is eat up time. So they'll run the ball, and they'll throw the short underneath passes. You won't see a lot of Favre to Sharp, although they're likely to do it at any time. I mean, Brett Favre, one thing he loves to do is throw touchdown passes. He's like a bird dog. You got to let the dog hunt, and that's what he wants to do. Hunting to him is throwing that long ball.
On 3rd down, it's Brooks. And a 1st down outside the Packer 40. Donnell Wolford beaten on the play, and Brett Favre has had plenty of time to throw all afternoon, and he has been more times than not accurate to his wideouts.
Well, he said, again, I'm at my best when my back's to the wall, and this game was a must-win for the Packers, and boy, Brett Favre really has been at its best. He's completed the long ball, he's made the good decisions, and heck, his line has helped him out with that protection. You're right, Joe Buck.
1st down and Cobb. A nice pickup of 4 yards over the right side. And this Chicago Bears defense back on its heels. A 70-yard day so far for Reggie Cobb.
You talk about superstition. I mean, The Packers were the last team to run the ball on the Bears, and since then the Bears have shut everybody down, given up about 65 yards a game on the ground, and now all of a sudden the Packers are back and they're doing it again.
Second and 7. Bennett. Another first down carry. He got 6. Jeremy Lincoln there to make the stop, but a lot of the secondary has had to make tackles on Green Bay running backs today.
We'll take a look at Bennett in the run game. He makes the cutback and runs right past Sean Gale, and then you see Sharp making the block. I mean, even Sharp's getting in on this run game. That's a good sign when you get a superstar like Sterling Sharp throwing blocks on the safeties.
First down. Airing it out for Brooks.
It's what Brett Favre does, like the bird dog, like the hunter, the long ball with the precision. Once again, and we've seen him throw pass after pass, the long ball, and we've seen him throw them with perfection. Almost like a circus act. You think they've done it time and time before.
The Chicago pass defense has seen enough of Brett Favre today. A handoff to Cobb, not much. He got 2. Favre today is 17 out of 27 for 236 yards and 3 touchdown passes against a very good Chicago defense ranked 2nd in the NFL against the pass.
You know, Brett told me yesterday, all my life I've always played for a team that's never been the favorite. We've always been the underdog. We've always been backed into a corner. So I'm used to it, and that's the way I play.
Bennett falls forward to the 7, maybe just inside the 7. Dante Jones there to bring him down after Bennett picked up 2.
Well, we talked about Jim Flanagan, and now he's coming home only in a Bears uniform. Well, when you come home to Green Bay in a Bears uniform, you see him there in the middle of the screen. There's the homecoming. Couple Packers on top of you. Have a little bit of that Green Bay turf that you grew up on.
3rd and 6. Wide open, and Chmura never saw it. By the time Chmura looked up, the ball was already behind him.
Well, you think that it doesn't matter, but it doesn't in the score because it's so lopsided. But to Brett Favre, like I said, he wants a touchdown pass more than anything. You see his reaction there. That hurts him.
Incomplete, and time for Jackie to try a field goal. They'll spot the ball just inside the 15-yard line. A 24-yard field goal try as the Packers try to add to their lead. They do. Jackie good from 24. And the Packers take a lead now 34-3. Big day for the Pack.
In orange, you see the orange deer hat there. You see the deer, but it looks like the people up here. See if we can swing it up there. The people up top are the ones who are the successful hunters. You see that there? They've been getting it done. So it looks like in Green Bay, the camouflage is the way you want to go. If you're a hunter, Joe Buck.
If you're a hunter, or if you're just a connoisseur and enjoy cheese, you can wear that. Jackie kicks it away. Nate Lewis on the return. Out near the 40-yard line. Always a viable alternative. You're a little cold, put a nice wedge of cheese on your head. Budweiser game summary. Look at time of possession, something that Chicago came into this game #1 in the league. Well, today it's Green Bay that's had the ball.
Yeah, well, we talked about Mike Holmgren wanting to beat the Bears at their own game, and that's exactly what they've done. You look at the total yards, they got more total yards, and of course the time of possession tilted heavily in Green Bay's favor, especially in this second half.
Game summary brought to you by Budweiser. First down for Chicago. Trying to get something going, incomplete, looking for the tight end, Ryan Wetnight, and he was well covered. Mike Pryor was there. He's had a big game, Mike Pryor. He's made a couple of big tackles, and that time was all over Ryan Wetnight.
I talked about Buckley, and then here you see Conway on him, and you know, maybe the reason why they're not going at him is Buckley's got some pretty good coverage. I still say, though, that's the place you want to go to.
Same matchup, Conway and Buckley, down at the bottom of your screen. Out of the backfield, it's Robert Green, and he is hit. There's Mike Pryor again.
You know, that's the thing. When you're a special teams player and you play a lot on the special teams, big contributor like Mike Pryor, then you have to make the open field tackle. Heck, you're used to it. It's even better because during a kickoff, the guy's running full speed. And there, Robert Green had to turn around.
3rd and 8. High throw to Graham, and he's well short of a first down. Hey, it's Mike Pryor.
That's a great sign, and you talk about the Packers getting their defense turned around. And, of course, you look to Sean Jones and Reggie White and Leroy Butler, but when you see Don Davey making a sack and Mike Pryor in on all these tackles, heck, that's a great sign for the Packers D.
Gardocki punting it to Robert Brooks, and the fair catch inside the 20. Prepare yourself for a journey that's out of this world this Tuesday night. Join William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, Superman's Dean Cain, and Carrie Fisher for a look at more than 40 years of classic sci-fi television. Watch Science Fiction, A Journey into the Unknown, Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on Fox.
You take a look at Green Bay's last 4 possessions, and they've scored on every one. So the Bears defense really unable to shut down the Packers offense in any way, because we've seen them run the ball and we've seen them throw the ball. They're doing everything. They're hitting them high, hitting them low, doing it all.
On first down, Bennett. Edgar Bennett brought down at the 35, and a first down for Green Bay. Pickup of 16, and Ron Cox had to make the tackle. Under a minute to go in the third quarter.
And take a look at some of that handiwork there. Galbraith and Winters with the combination on the tackle and then on the inside linebacker. So again, I mean, you got to give some credit when your quarterback has time and when your running backs are getting upfield. A lot of the reason is on that front line.
Bennett, 17 carries for 61 yards. He'll try the left side. Big hole, big yards. Edgar Bennett. Dante Jones there for the stop. Green Bay today has rushed for 167 yards against this Chicago defense.
This Chicago defense is getting tired. You can see it in the way that they're playing, and you can see it in the way Green Bay is running through them.
Final seconds of the third quarter, and a standing ovation here at Lambeau Field for the Green Bay Packers. That's the end of our third quarter with the score: Green Bay 34, Chicago 3. We'll return to Lambeau after this from your local station. Joe Buck and Tim Green with you, and this was a game where the Packers were trying to get back to the 500 mark. They're 15 minutes away from that, trying to make it 7-7. Bennett picks up a first down, and it's just first down after first down. The Chicago defense has seen Green Bay rack up better than 400 total yards on offense here today.
Yeah, and like I said, when you talk about the time of possession, this defense is getting tired, and they're not used to being out on the field this long. They're used to their offense holding onto the ball and them sitting on the bench and getting rejuvenated.
First down for Green Bay, just shy of midfield. Sterling Sharp, it's intercepted and now dropped. And they're going to rule it incomplete. Donnell Wolford had it in his hands, and when he hit, he couldn't hang on.
Well, whether he hung on to it or not, I think Sterling Sharp would have been better served to jump on the ball rather than give the official the signal. And here you see Brett Favre going just one too many times because Wolford said he'd be close to Sharp all day. And then you see Sharp giving the signal, heck, jump on the football.
It was ruled incomplete, so it still belongs to Green Bay. And they have a second down and 10. Cobb slips past Minter and picks up 6 yards. Chris Zorich was there for the stop, but Green Bay able to hang on to the football, and the Bears offense hoping to get it back. But Green Bay is held on and held on and held on, and they lead by 31. Now third down and 4. The tight end Johnson and a first down catch. We'll send you down now to our other partner, Dan Jiggets. Dan.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe. Is expected Eric Kramer's loosening up right now. He's getting ready to go into ball games, working with his center, Jerry Fontenot. So in this last quarter, Dave Wanstead decided to get his other quarterback some work.
All right, Dan, thanks. So Kramer may see some action the next time the Bears get the ball, but it would only be for what Dan said, some extra work, because it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, you say it's never over till it's over. And you want to wait until the fat lady sings. She's not singing, but she's clearing her throat.
Where might she be on a day like this at Lambeau Field?
Under a cheese head somewhere and bundled up.
That's a pleasant sight.
Yeah. Well, remember Dave Wanstead said his team had to play the best game they've played this year to win this game. And today they have not played their best game. They really have played a sub-average game. But, again, remember, Joe, the Bears did not have to have this win. They're still going to go to the playoffs.
Edgar Bennett inside the 10. Forced out of bounds at the 7. Well, Tim, you say that the Chicago Bears are still going to go to the playoffs, but they still have a fight ahead of them. Depending on what Minnesota does with Buffalo, this division was tight yesterday.
Yeah.
After today, it's going to be even tighter.
It's tight, but they play the Rams and they play the Patriots. They'll win one of those at least, and the Bears will be in the playoffs.
First and goal. Edgar Bennett, who has had a big day.
When you talk about the playoffs, you got to think the Packers now too. Now they have to win their last 2, but the way they're rolling now and the way they're playing back home makes you think that the Packers can be in the playoffs as well. And Brett Favre told me that our offense is high-powered. We can put a lot of points on the board. We can score against Dallas. We can score against Buffalo. We can score against the best of them. If our defense gets straightened out, we can go all the way. They believe that.
Favre slips, gets up, rolls, and now takes a seat at the 10. Carl Simpson there to fall on top of Favre. Well, Green Bay will host Atlanta in Milwaukee next week. And then they're at Tampa Bay on Christmas Eve to close out the regular season.
Those are two games, again, that they believe they can win. And then, as I said, their offense has turned into a high. And they feel like, hey, if our defense can pick it up and play, especially the way they played today, they really can beat anyone.
Now 3rd and goal. Sharp brought down around the 3-yard line. And the Packer fans begging the Pack to go for 6. Instead, they send on the field goal unit.
You only see that in a bitter rivalry.
This isn't to that. Holmgren's not the type of coach who would run it up on anybody.
No, but the fans are. If they had their way, they'd put that on the Christmas list.
20-yard field goal try here for Jackie. 2 for 2, and now 3 for 3. Makes it 37-3 Green Bay, and the Packers about to move to 7-7.
Eagle. Test drive an Eagle Vision at your local Eagle dealer. By Digital. By Panasonic Smooth Operator Wet Dry Erasers. Smoother than you ever thought you'd be. And by Wendy's. After 25 years, quality is still our recipe.
Well, it's an early Christmas for the Green Bay Packers. They already got that. They don't need that. They'd rather have it cold because the Packers win in the cold. This is what they want ultimately. Forget that. As long as you get this, the wild card, you can get to this. Merry Christmas, Green Bay.
John Madden would have been proud of that. That is Telestrator to its finest. Jackie kicks it away, and Lewis from inside his 15. Brought down at the 40. Now time for a McDonald's game break on Minnesota and Buffalo. Here's JB in Hollywood.
All right, Joe. Warren Moon looking for his first victory in Buffalo finds Qadry Ismail with that 22-yard bullet to the 1. Makes it easy for Terry Allen to take it into pay dirt. They missed the 2-point conversion, but lead it by 1. Under 9 to play. Back to Joe and Tim.
Well, here's Eric Kramer. He checks in at quarterback with 9:28 remaining, and the Bears trailing by 34. Kramer hits Graham, and he is down just shy of the 45-yard line.
You know, whether this game is over or not, and it looks like it is, I mean, Eric Kramer, this is an important series, an important part of the game for him because he doesn't want people in Chicago, coaches, players, fans, to forget that he's there, he's ready, and he's able.
This might lead to something down the road. Graham can't hang on. Mentioned that Chicago will next host the Rams next weekend in Chicago, then host New England. Eric Kramer, this is his audition to be the starting.
And he knows it.
Now 2nd down and 10. Movement on the line of scrimmage. And flags fly. You know, we've had only one other instance all day where there was a flag on the field. That penalty was declined. So this may be our first official penalty of the day.
Before the snap, false start. Number 71 on the offense. 5 yards, still second out.
And we haven't missed those flags either, have we?
Not at all.
No.
Under 9 minutes to play in this one, and that's the first penalty marked off against either team.
Penalty on Big Cat, former defensive line himself.
First penalty on the Bears today, and it comes with under 9 minutes to play. There's the day for Walsh. 12 out of 26. 140 yards. A key interception by Butler back in the first half. McMurtry ridden out of bounds at the 41.
Now, one thing, when the Packers defense goes to their pass rush situations, they take out my good friend John Yurkovich, number 64. And, I was talking with him yesterday, and he said, they should leave me in because last season I played 6 games. The last 6 games I rushed the passer. I had 5.5 sacks. So, hey, that may be part of the solution for this Packers defense. Get Yurkovich back in on the pass rush.
Standing on the sidelines and watching on 3rd down and 6. Big rush from Jones, and Kramer throws incomplete. Sean Jones off the corner, got a hand on Kramer. That'll bring up a 4th down for Chicago, and they're going to go after it. Kramer looking for a 4th down completion to keep this drive going. Batted down, still being bobbled around, and who's going to come away with it? No one. The umpire somehow saw that ball hit the ground. Butler will not be credited with an interception, but the Packers do get it on down.
Heck, that looked like one of those hacky sack balls on a summer day. You kick it, you knee it, you hit it with your head, your arm, your hand.
No one comes away with the interception. Green Bay comes away with a football, and today they'll come away with a win. A big day for the superstars for Green Bay. Reggie White on the defensive side. Brett Favre on the offensive side, and he'll take the rest of this game off. He's done his work. Mark Brunell takes over at quarterback. 2nd-year player from Washington. LaShawn Johnson checks in. He's in the backfield. And he can't find his footing. And he meets some of the Bears defenders. Not a good carry the first time out for LaShawn Johnson, a 3rd-round pick from Northern Illinois.
Well, he hasn't been out there and carried the ball, so he's not used to the fact that this field is slick and slippery, and you'll go down.
A loss of 3. So a chance for Brunell and some of the backups to get a little work. At the end of the game, Tim and I will select the Miller Lite player of the game. Second down and 13. Johnson. Not much. Sorich over his back. Time for another update. Back to Hollywood, and here's James Brown.
All right, Joe. The Steelers forced to go to 4 wides with injuries to Barry Foster and Bam Morris. A successful move. O'Donnell to Hastings, 18 yards. And Pittsburgh, 14-3 over Philadelphia, under 8 to play. Back to Joe and Tim.
All right, James Brown, thank you very much. Well, Philadelphia falling, and they're hoping they can get up. 3rd down and 13. Brunell fires, finds Sterling Sharp. First down, Green Bay. So dangerous after the catch.
It's about time to take Sterling Sharp out of the game, too. I mean, you see the big numbers there. 7 catches, 86 yards, 2 TDs. No sense in leaving him in there any longer.
The 2 touchdowns give Sterling Sharp a career high 14 for the season.
You see Sterling shaking his head there. I don't want to come off.
Johnson. Wow. What a hit from Dante Jones. And LaShawn Johnson having a few problems after stepping in off the sideline.
Yeah, and Dante Jones venting a little frustration at this blowout game and just reminding LaShawn Johnson that, yes, you are in the NFL, and I am a middle linebacker.
There's Dante, 7th year out of Oklahoma. Originally a second-round draft pick back in 1988. Second down and 13, and Johnson. A little better this time. Ron Cox lays a hit on him after he picked up 5.
Well, what Johnson is doing is he's running as hard as he possibly can because he's getting his shot. And the problem is, on this field, you don't want to run quite as hard as you possibly can. You've got to kick it into a lower gear because it's so slippery and sloppy.
This game is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. A football league is prohibited. 3rd down and 8. Play action pass, and Brunell has it batted back in his face by John Theory. There's the number 1 pick from Alcorn State. Not a big guy. They have him listed as a defensive end. They like his speed. You talked about the speed of Alonzo Spellman. This guy is as quick as Spellman.
Yeah, and with Spellman and Zorich coming on as those defensive linemen, and with Fontenot picking it up and Simpson doing pretty good and Trace Armstrong, they've got the luxury to develop a guy like Theory and bring him along slowly.
Only the second punt of the day for Hendrick, and Graham with a fair catch back inside the 10. The Bears offense will set up at the 9 after that 36-yard punt. Way here in Green Bay. Minnesota leading Buffalo now. They've added a field goal, 21-17. Chicago, the record of 8-5, that might slip to 8-6 after today. Look at Tim, telestrator man. Green Bay moving up to 7-7. It's 37-3. The Packers out in front. The Bears with the football. 4 minutes plus the play. Graham trying to fight through Keyshawn Johnson, and a flag is thrown, a late flag. Graham had to climb the back of Johnson, the former Bear. And it will be pass interference on Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah, and it was pass interference. See the ball up there? And see that left hand right there. Not much. And really, Graham with a little bit more of the push, but they're calling it on the defenders. You know, Joe, we have not been able to find the fat lady. But when you see a cheese-headed hunter, because you know he's a hunter with the orange suit, leaving, you know it's over.
They'll go report back to the fat lady. Now first down after the pass interference, and a big hit laid on by Matt Brock. Frustrating season, but he's venting it right now.
Yeah. Sometimes that makes up for it. You know, he hasn't been playing. He asked to be waived. He said he wanted to go someplace where he could play. Sometimes a sack late in the game against the Chicago Bear, a hug from Don Davey, sometimes that makes up for a lot of it.
It was an incomplete pass, so second down. Kramer looking for his tight end, intercepted by Keyshawn Johnson. Bear gets Eric Kramer, and Chicago second pick of the day for the Packers.
Well, when it rains, it pours, and you saw Dave Wannstedt. His team's on the slide.
It's raining here at Lambeau Field. Coming up next, except for Green Bay and Phoenix, Steve Young leads the San Francisco 49ers against the Chargers in a best of the West clash between divisional leaders. That's next on Fox. And hey, with Dallas's loss yesterday at Cleveland, San Francisco can take a huge step toward clinching home field advantage in the playoffs. And the San Diego victory clinches the AFC West for the Chargers. Big game coming up. Johnson bounces it outside on first down. A pickup of only one, and Chris Zorich there to force him out of bounds.
It's my man John Yurkovich down there on the sideline. He's not putting a coat on yet. He still wants to get in and get another crack at a quarterback sack.
Second down and 9. Johnson tries the right side. Boy, he's quick. LaShawn Johnson inside the 20. 3-yard carry for LaShawn Johnson, his longest of the year.
It's a nice speed. Heck, I said maybe he should gear it down. I was wrong, obviously, once again. He kept it in high gear, and he got himself downfield, impressing Mike Holmgren, I'm sure.
Myron Baker there for the stop. And the rushing yards today. Who would have thought that? Green Bay coming in had struggled. Dorsey Levens, a backup fullback from Georgia Tech, with that carry. Levens picked up a couple. 515 total yards today for Green Bay against this Chicago Bear defense.
They're finally taking Chris Zorich out. He worked hard today. And here's another guy who worked hard. And another one.
Second down for Green Bay. Dorsey Levens. He got 3. Big Jim Flanagan there to make the stop. There's Zorich.
Yeah, you know, it's a tough thing when you're a defensive lineman. You work hard all day, but if you lose, nobody appreciates it. Nobody pats you on the back. Beginning of the game that the Packers had to be more aggressive in their playing and in their play calling, and there you see Reggie White, and part of the aggressiveness in the play calling was to switch him up and move him around. Here's all the positions where he lined up different times during the day, and then you see the productivity that he was able to have making tackles all up and down the line. A big factor in the resurgence of the Green Bay defense today.
Still only about 75%, 80% with the torn ligaments in his left elbow. But still working hard. Third down and 5 for Green Bay. Theory missed the sack. Incomplete, looking for Dorsey Levens. And John Theory will be dreaming about that. He doesn't get a chance to play very often, and he just missed a sure sack.
You're absolutely right. I mean, that will haunt him. That haunts any defensive lineman, any defensive player, especially a young one with a clean jersey.
Jackie will try a 29-yarder. 3 for 3 this afternoon. Not much offensively has gone wrong all day for Green Bay. Jackie now 4 out of 4. That makes the score Green Bay 40, Chicago 3. A minute 52 to play. They grew up on the mean streets of New York. Now they're fighting. You're right about Zorich, though, Tim. This guy fought and fought and fought all day, but it's a 40-3 game, and nobody's going to care.
Yeah, but you know what, though? Dave Wannstedt cares, and Zorich epitomizes the type of team that Wannstedt has put together. They'll fight, and they'll scrap, and they'll work, and they'll hang in there. And, you know, if you lose a game like this, sometimes it's not so bad if it's a blowout because you just wash it off. You say it's an aberration. Like the last Green Bay game that this team lost early in the season, and Wannstedt said, hey, it's a freak thing. It doesn't happen to us. That's not us. We'll erase it from our minds, and we'll go on. The Bears have still got 2 big games to get themselves into the playoffs and then just take it from there and hopefully get back on the hot streak that Steve Walsh has had thus far in the middle of the season.
Jackie's kick taken by Carter. He gets it across the 35-yard line, brought down by Terry Mickens. A big game on Fox next Saturday. The Detroit Lions and Barry Sanders keep the playoff dream alive with a big victory against the Jets. They did that yesterday. Can they do it again next Saturday against the Vikings? Doesn't get any bigger in the NFC Central. Check it out starting with a pregame show at noon Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. It's all part of a special Fox NFL weekend. By the way, Minnesota is still leading at Buffalo and have had to cart Jim Kelly off the field, the quarterback for the Bills. Kramer's pass intended for McMurtry, broken up by Corey Harris. With a win here today, it will mark the first time since 1962 that the Packers will have gone undefeated at Lambeau Field, and they will have done that this season. They did lose a so-called home game earlier this season, but that was against Miami, and that was in Milwaukee. And they play in Milwaukee next week. Their only remaining home game. They'll take on the Falcons. 2nd down and 10. Kramer runs out of time and throws incomplete. Don Davey with good pressure and incomplete to Robert Green. Well, if this was an audition, Tim Green, for Eric Kramer, it's not going very well. Only 2 out of 9 for 24 yards and 1 interception.
Yeah, and really Eric has not given Dave Wannstedt much reason to pull Steve Walsh and to make that kind of a switch, because don't forget, I mean, Walsh is still, you know, won 4 out of the last 5, and now it'll be 4 out of the last 6. He's still performed real well for this team.
Wayne Simmons with a big hit. And this has been a chance for the second stringers to shine here in the 4th quarter in Green Bay. A #1 pick last season out of Clemson. He's been a frustrated player as well. These guys are getting some of that frustration out.
And sometimes you see some good football late in these 4th quarter blowouts. The fat lady won't see it, but we will.
Now 4th down and 10. Kramer is sacked. Gabe Wilkins was there. Don Davey was there. And Kramer had to take a seat.
You talk about raw talent and developing players. Gabe Wilkins, big 312 pounds, and he's built for power.
Not a very good couple of hours for the Chicago Bears and their fans. We get word that the Minnesota Vikings have defeated the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo 21-17. So forget the percentage points. The Vikings now all alone in first place in the NFC Central. The Bears will be 8-6. The Packers will be 7-7. More snaps, and that'll be it. In fact, that is the last snap of the game. And there is our Miller Lite player of the game, and he is thrilled and ought to be. What a game.
Yeah, he said he's at his best, and he is, and he was. And I bet that he will be for the next 2 weeks.
The two teams shake hands. McMichael talking to Wannstedt, of course, a longtime Bear. A big win for Green Bay. Favre ends up 19 out of 31, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. Well, that's the end of the game with the score. Green Bay 40, Chicago 3. Stay tuned. Coming up next, except for Green Bay and Phoenix, the San Francisco 49ers and the San Diego Chargers. For Tim Green, I'm Joe Buck saying so long from Lambeau Field. This has been a presentation of Fox Sports. A big win today for the Green Bay Packers. They moved to 7-7. The Bears slipped to 8-6. And we bid you good night.